What if I told you one of the longest and most ambitious JRPGs ever made has been rebuilt for modern hardware and somehow they made it work? Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is a game with huge legacy. It was originally a massive title on the PS1 and later remade for the 3DS. And this latest version reimagines the classic whilst keeping the heart of the story intact. Now on Nintendo Switch 2, it's been given a full visual overhaul, with smoother performance and quality of life upgrades that help bring this sprawling adventure into the modern era. But with all that ambition, the question remains: does this remake finally make Dragon Quest VII accessible to a wider audience while honouring what fans love most? Let's get into it. At its core, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is true to the classic turn-based formula that defines the series. Thoughtful battles, party management, and a constant drive to improve your skills and equipment. The remake takes meaningful steps to modernise the experience. Enemies now appear in the field, so you can choose when to engage and even defeat weaker foes instantly if you don't want to grind. There's also a fast forward function in battles and clearer menus that make every encounter more streamlined. One of the standout changes is the updated vocation system. Not only are individual vocations more distinct, but characters can now moonlight, essentially equipping two jobs at the same time, which opens up deeper strategic options. Whether you're leaning into healing, heavy damage or support roles, there's real satisfaction in experimenting with combinations that suit your style. The world still unfolds island by island, with tablets unlocking new areas and narratives. Some of these stories have been made optional or more flexible in order, which can help reduce the feeling of repeating tasks for sheer progress. This is still a game where pacing matters, so you won't be rushing through this in a weekend, but the improvements help make that pacing feel intentional rather than tedious. One of the most striking aspects of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is its visual presentation. Square Enix has recrafted the world using a diorama 3D art style, where characters and environments resemble beautifully crafted miniature figures and settings brought to life. This handcrafted aesthetic gives the game a warm, storybook quality that helps it stand apart from both the original and the prior 3DS remake. Notably, the character models themselves are based on physical doll designs that were scanned and digitised, adding a tangible realism to the way the characters look and animate. All the environments, from towns to forests to ruins and wild spaces, feel rich and inviting thanks to the detailed lighting and layered backgrounds that reward exploration visually. On Switch 2, performance is excellent. The game runs at a smooth 60 FPS with no noticeable drops during exploration, combat or cutscenes. It makes a real difference over older versions, keeping everything feeling responsive and fluid. The sound design in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined has also seen comprehensive updates. The sweeping, melodic soundtrack that defines Dragon Quest returns here, with music and sound effects rearranged and polished to suit the updated visual style and overall presentation. Classic themes are recognisable, but refreshed to feel more cinematic and engaging.
Huh? Hang about?
A major new addition to this version is full voice acting for many of the characters and NPCs, a first for the Dragon Quest VII story. While the protagonist may remain silent by design, party members and important story figures now have spoken dialogue that helps bring cutscenes and interactions to life. Battle cues and environmental sounds have been modernised to fit a contemporary RPG experience while staying true to the series' musical identity. This creates an aural backdrop that supports both the pacing and the emotional beats of the adventure. Length has always been a defining feature of Dragon Quest VII, and that's still true here. A normal playthrough will take around 40 to 50 hours, while a complete run will easily stretch 70 or even 80 hours. The reimagined version does a good job of streamlining the experience, making the pacing feel more manageable, while still offering plenty of depth and content for players who want to see everything. The quest to unravel fragmented lands, master locations and uncover secrets across island after island means there's a deep sense of progression and reward, especially for players who enjoy classic JRPG exploration and character growth. Because story pacing has been refined, some segments that once dragged now feel purposeful rather than repetitive, and many quality of life systems make it easier to engage with this epic adventure at your own pace. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is more than a simple graphical refresh. It takes a classic and thoughtfully retools it for modern audiences without losing the essence that made the original so beloved. With unique visual style, refined mechanics, quality of life improvements, and accessible pacing, this remake represents one of the more ambitious reimaginings of a long-standing JRPG classic. One disappointment worth mentioning is the physical release on the Switch 2. This version is distributed as a game key card rather than a full traditional cartridge. For collectors and physical media fans, this is a real shame. It means the game still requires a download and there's less sense of ownership compared to the older releases. For such an important and long-running series, it feels like a missed opportunity to deliver a more substantial physical edition. This of course doesn't stop the game from being great, but it's worth keeping in mind if you care about physical preservation and collecting. For fans of traditional turn-based RPGs, or anyone just curious about classic JRPG storytelling, this one's a compelling experience. Daddy Hands gives it 4 out of 5. So overall, Dragon Quest VII delivers a thoughtfully modernised take on a classic adventure. Between its handcrafted visuals, expanded combat depth, full voice acting and refined pacing, it's a remake that succeeds in both spirit and execution. If you enjoyed the review today, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming content, and let me know in the comments what you think of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.